believe I would. I'd be listening to PBRN.
Gypsy music. It's Monday night, 7 p.m. here on PPRN Radio. I'm Phil Hall. If this is your first time listening to PPRN, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. We're a 24/7 net radio channel broadcasting from beautiful Naugatuck, Connecticut, offering talk radio with an inappropriate touch of music. This is the Online Movie Show, and on today's program we have two very different, very talented filmmakers. Coming up later in the show is John Arricchio, who is a horror filmmaker. His movies include such stuff as Requiem for a Vampire, Possession of Father Thomas, Paranormal Activity, and a movie called Abduction, which I appeared in. I actually played a pharmacist who winds up getting chopped up by a mad surgeon, which was quite a lot of fun. But sitting across from me here in our studio is somebody whose movies do not include mad surgeons chopping up people
not yet.
Or Paranormal Activity or Vampires in Need of Requiem, is Stephen Dest, who is an award-winning filmmaker. I know Stephen from his film My Brother Jack, which played in the New England Underground Film Festival, which I program, and that won the Best Picture Award there, and deservedly so, and it won several other awards on the festival circuit. And he has a new movie which is currently in the works called I Am Shakespeare, which is a documentary film. And his first film, actually right out of the gate, wound up at the Cannes Film Festival. First, Stephen Dest, thank you and welcome to the Online Movie Show.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
So tell me about the Cannes Film Festival and the movie that got you there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you guys probably know, Cannes happening right now, so it's a exciting time for the film festival circuit. Like a lot of filmmakers at the time, it was 2008. I submitted to a number of different festivals with my short film Blind. Blind was originally a short play that I'd written and played in theater festivals around the country, predominantly in New York City, where I lived at the time. And then we turned Blind into a short film. We shot on 8mm, which was a lot of fun. Also kind of scary at the time because this was at the height of the big change in film. People walking away from film proper, shifting into digital film and video content and all that kind of thing, especially with the, with the Red and with Sony's new cameras that they were operating at the time. Obviously, these were a big change, and eventually I shifted over to video as well. But I was determined to make this film with some kind of film stock, and all I could afford was 8mm, so that's what we did. So then once we cut the film, and it's definitely had a feel to it and a tone to it, and we were pretty satisfied with what we created with it. Certainly not thinking it was Cannes worthy or anything like that. I don't think any filmmaker's like, well, I'm going to make a film that's going to go right to Cannes or Sundance. Or, I mean, if you do, hey, good for you. I don't work that way. I just try to tell the story the best I can and find an audience for it. Sometimes the audience is just in my basement, like here, and sometimes the audience happens to be in the south of France. So, and this opportunity came along. Like I said, we submitted to various festivals, and Cannes was on that list. And oddly enough, or not so oddly enough, as most filmmakers who've gone through the festival circuit can attest to, got rejected by much smaller film festivals, and got accepted by some medium-tier festivals, and got accepted to Cannes as well. So it was an opportunity to go over there, and it was terrific. I think for me, going in there, I thought, all right, no one's going to care about this little 8mm film because digital's where it's at right now. But if you know anything about French cinema and Cannes in general and sort of their roots, they, as you can imagine, then if you know about that, then they welcomed me with open arms. They were really excited that a filmmaker was still making something on film stock. And we had a good time with it. We learned a lot about the marketing side of it, which helped me in the future. Kind of went in pretty green as far as what you do with a film afterwards. Okay, you made a film, now what? Kind of a thing. So the best thing about Cannes was I saw that side of the industry, which is definitely a side that they don't teach you anywhere, and you certainly can't learn it until you're sort of exposed to it. So I walked away from, and we did actually get a deal as well. Moviola, which is a short film buyer and distributor out of Canada, they picked it up. That was fun to deal with all of that. Had to make some changes. At the time, I had there's a lot of people who know the old version of it. I had these great old Cheap Trick songs in it, and images of Kiss and Farrah Fawcett, the iconic Farrah Fawcett poster, and very expensive material. So we quickly re-edited it and shifted off to them, and everything was good.
That's actually a major mistake that a lot of new filmmakers make, is they figure, oh, the music's out there, I can just grab it and put it in. And there are actually a lot of major films that are still not available on DVD or any home entertainment because music rights issues.
Absolutely.
For kids listening at home, if there's music out there and you didn't create it and somebody has a copyright on it, you have to get the rights to it. You just can't claim it to be your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And you probably do know that, and you can get different rights at different stages, and you can get film festival rights and stuff like that. If you know long term, maybe you're going to change the content, the film score, but pay for what you're using. Absolutely.
I'm glad that you started off talking about Cannes from the business aspect of show business as opposed to the show, because most people know Cannes from the starlets on the red carpet and the gowns and whatnot. But I imagine that's just basically a tiny aspect of the experience.
Extremely tiny. It's a pretty small piece of red carpet that you see. And I've walked on it, and I took a picture of my foot on it, but I also took a lot of pictures of my feet on a lot of concrete and the sand, because obviously it sits right along the French Riviera. It's beautiful, by no mistake. It's a beautiful part of the world. But it's an industry. It's a meat market, no doubt. There's tents from all over. Every country has buyers, and not a lot of content, but a lot of ideas. So it's a place to create ideas and to try to pitch these ideas and try to get that money before anyone turns a camera on. So it's a long process.
When you look for festivals to put your films in, are you looking specifically for business-oriented festivals, or are you looking for festivals where you get a wide audience? I know I was grateful that you had My Brother Jack in my festival, because it's a New England festival. I imagine there was a regional pride connection in that. But when putting together your list of festivals to submit to, what are your considerations?
It changes with the film, first of all. So you have to think about what the genre of your film is, and you may have a specific film that you think works for a particular film festival. That's just some arbitrary, the Milwaukee Film Festival. But film festivals also change their mission over the years. So you want to really be paying attention to what they're focused on that year, because maybe 5 years ago when you went to that festival with another film, or you knew about it, or you first learned about it, maybe they were really big into a certain genre that now you've created. But 5 years later, the chances of that festival still focused on that particular style is pretty rare. But absolutely, in the case with the New England Underground, obviously I was looking for a festival close to home. And so you cover all the different areas. I think you have to map out what's best for your film, whether it's your genre, what you're trying to achieve with it is a big mess. So really, you should have a game plan as to what you're trying to do with your film after you make it. And whatever that is, it's great as long as it's your idea and you follow through with it. But you have to have a game plan. Otherwise it's difficult enough. Even with a great game plan, it's going to fail. Just be prepared for that.
Really?
Well, I mean, what I mean by that is you're going to submit to 200 festivals. You're going to get into 20, but that's 20. That's great. That's a great ratio, but it's a failed ratio by most standards.
It's also an expense too. I mean, as a festival programmer, I constantly get emails from people saying, "Oh, I ran out of money. Can I please get my film in your festival for free?" And I really hate to be Scrooge about it, but I mean, we are trying to put on a festival, and there are expenses attached to it. I'm not running a charity.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, I guess, also, and that's also the business aspect of the show business that many people new to films don't realize, is that you have to budget yourself accordingly. And if you're an independent filmmaker like yourself, your source of income can often be a challenge. How do you finance your productions?
So right now with I Am Shakespeare, which is based on this young man, Henry Green, who was shot in Newhallville, and it's his life story. The money for this film currently is coming from a foundation, from a grant. Some of the board members of this particular foundation, which is based out of Philadelphia, happened to be in New Haven and saw a screening of My Brother Jack, where I did the screening, and then Henry and I did a Q&A. We did a talk back. We talked. First, I talked about My Brother Jack, and then Henry came on stage, and we talked about the new film. And they were motivated to get involved in this film based on my work in the past and what Henry had to say with me that night. And in the past, with My Brother Jack, it was private investors. We've done some crowdfunding. Haven't done any crowdfunding yet with I Am Shakespeare. Not to say that I won't, so stand by. It's always a good chance. And I think, Phil, you bring up a good point about when you are laying down your budget and you think about your post-production, you got to think beyond sound and final mix and final cut and all these sort of things. And big part of your post-production is making sure you have some money for festival submissions because, every now and then someone might invite you to their festival and they might waive your fee. But you shouldn't plan on that. You should be prepared. The last thing you want to do to your investors or to your crew or to everyone who put so much time and effort into your film is turn back and say, hey, I don't have any money to get this film out there. So make sure that's part of your budget, whether you do it through crowdfunding or through your investors. But obviously try to do it up front. There's nothing worse than coming to your fans or coming to your investors or wherever you may be seeking the money after the fact. Let them know up front, this is what we need. This is what we're hoping for.
So let's just backpedal a bit. You mentioned I Am Shakespeare and Henry Green. What is the connection between Shakespeare and this young man who had been shot and survived his injuries?
So Henry was I say was, but I'm optimistic that he will act again, start doing Shakespeare in the park soon. He hasn't returned to the Shakespeare stage since his shooting, but he's certainly considering it. It's just he's dealing with other things right now, going back to school and things of this nature. So Henry was a amazing young actor out of the Cooperative High School program, the Performing Arts High School in New Haven, Connecticut. Considered maybe one of the best actors that school's ever seen. And the summer that he was shot, shortly after he was in a production of Shakespeare in the Park, Romeo and Juliet, where he played Tybalt. And you'll see in the film what was going on with Henry Green was he was living this dual life. He was this tremendous actor, tremendous talent with Shakespeare and in musical theater as well. And then he sort of by day and by night he was living this alter ego, this character that he created, this persona named Renegade, and he was running with this gang in Newhallville, sort of trying to kind of struggle with identity crisis in a very sort of potent way. Theater was his escape. Kind of theater was a place where he could not have to be any of those guys that he was sort of fighting. And that's sort of title I Am Shakespeare comes from. And unfortunately, shortly after that production of Romeo and Juliet, he was shot. He was shot at 3 times. He took one into the stomach and subsequently went into a coma for nearly 4 months.
How did you learn about him?
So Henry was a student of mine. Years ago, I was teaching theater in New Haven. And I'd always followed Henry as a young actor, and sometimes he'd come to me. Schools like Juilliard and such were interested in his acting and his career, and so I would advise him from time to time and tried to stay in touch with him and work with him after high school in various forms. And then I was actually working on My Brother Jack at the time when I heard about the shooting, and obviously knowing Henry, sort of put that clip aside and said, I want to talk to Henry about this someday. Not from a filmmaker standpoint, just as a former teacher. I wanted to reach out to him. And then Henry and I started talking, and then I started to develop the idea of taking that story and adapting it to a script, not a documentary. And I knew Henry was looking for things to do as well. So Henry and I started playing around with the idea of adapting his story. So he and I were going to write the screenplay together. And the more time I spent with him after his recovery, because you got to remember, there's a period where Henry couldn't even walk. Never mind, do the things he does today. If you've seen the trailer, he's powerlifting. He's a mentor. He's working with the Boys and Girls Club and works with the different programs all over the state. And he's doing remarkable things. But there was a period after his shooting, as you can imagine, he had to have a complete intestinal transplant where couldn't even leave his house. He was in a wheelchair for a good year or two. So limited mobility at the time. So I couldn't push him any more than just, share some of his thoughts. And so he would write me via email. He'd send me some journal entries about his story. And then as he got healthier and we started to developing it, in fact, I pitched the idea of I Am Shakespeare at the time as a narrative feature at the Napa Valley Film Festival, where I was the artist in residence in 2013 with my brother Jack. And one of the guys at the Weinstein Company, before I was leaving the pitch, said, he said, "Hey, Steve," he goes, "this is a documentary, right?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "It's a documentary, isn't it?" And I was like, "Well, Mr. Weinstein, no, yeah, absolutely." I said, "Well, maybe it is, And other people, I have a good friend of mine, Gorman Bouchard, who does some terrific documentary work here in Connecticut. I talked to him about that as well. And really, Henry made it obvious that it should be a documentary. Once he got to his health, and he's such a charismatic character, we just decided to keep the camera on him and let him tell his story. He tells his story a lot better than I would have as a writer, that's for sure.
Well, Henry's story and also My Brother Jack, which is a narrative feature where the central character is dealing with emotional issues as well. These are the two films, very different films, but the similar theme of young men overcoming struggles, one more physical, but also, I assume, emotional as well. And with My Brother Jack, it's primarily the emotional issues. What attracts you to this type of a story?
So it's a great question, and sometimes I don't see the similarities. I don't think any creative person really sees it, but it's in all of our work, I imagine, or I guess it's definitely in mine. And Phil, you're not the first person to bring that up, but I think the most honest answer I can give to that question is I lost my father when I was a young man, and my father didn't die of he wasn't murdered or died of some horrific tragedy or anything. He unfortunately died of a heart attack, at a time where men's health wasn't really that much focus put on it, and he was slightly overweight, and he smoked, and he was just a guy's guy, and he kind of, his life ended really short, and this has always been sort of a thorn in my side, if you will, as far as what coulda, woulda, shoulda happened, and I can't do anything about that except honor his life and his death as being the best son I possibly can. And for me, as a filmmaker, it's through my work. So somehow I think I don't intentionally do it. People say to me all the time, I have a pretty quick wit and I like to have some fun. I used to do a lot of improv back in New York when I was more focused in theater. People were like, "Oh, write a comedy. You're so funny. Write a comedy." And I'm like, "I don't fucking write comedies. I like comedies, but I don't fucking. What's funny about what's funny about writing a story? So I don't do that. It just kind of that's how it comes out, and they come out in these. And then now I shift to a documentary, and the same tones are kind of coming out. PTSD and depression and things of this nature. I don't know, and I think it's also things people want to hear about.
Well, I've been hearing about for the past 15 minutes or so, Cannes Festival, movie deals, artist in residence at Napa Valley, the Weinsteins telling you how to make a movie.
Tell me to make a documentary.
At the risk of being completely rude, what are you doing here in Connecticut? How come you're not out in Hollywood?
Mostly because my kids are here. I have 2 children, and we're based here in Connecticut. Always have. I was born in Connecticut, lived in New York for a long time. Honestly, right now, the best thing about this business is you don't have to live in L.A. or, New York for that matter. Although, New York's not necessarily the mecca for film, but I have a lot of great friends who do great film work in New York. Connecticut works really well for me. One of the most important parts of, if you know about my films, is especially New Haven is very much a character in my work. So I have that opportunity to draw from a great city. And listen, if you know anything about me, I've done 7 national tours as an actor. I've been all over this country. Yes, my film crew did come in from L.A. to make My Brother Jack. And sure, I certainly spend a lot of time working with people in New York and L.A. on various projects that I do. But New Haven, to me, but others I've read about, is still the greatest little unknown city in this country, and not so unknown anymore. It's been getting a lot of press lately as the greatest little city in America, and I'm a proud New Haven filmmaker, no doubt about it. I like working in New Haven. I like making films in New Haven, and most importantly, I like living in New Haven, and that's why I'm here, Phil.
Well, you've been speaking about My Brother Jack, and there's also another film called The Forgotten Elm, which was a documentary short that you made. Where can people see your films?
We
have an echo chamber in
I don't know
here.
if that's going out to you or if it's just in my ear with all my voices. So right now, My Brother Jack is it has its all digital platforms right now. So it's predominantly Amazon Prime's doing really well with it. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Hula. All these Google Plus. Google, am I saying that right?
Google Plus, yes.
Google Plus.
I think it's Hulu, is it? As opposed to
Hulu.
Hula is the Hawaiian dance. But,
Don't get me started on hula hoops. So Amazon Prime is a great place to find My Brother Jack. We just broke worldwide, so now My Brother Jack's available in Japan. So if you're in Japan right now, so you can get.
We have listeners in Japan.
Great.
Yes.
So I'd like to say something in Japanese, but I'll probably say something politically incorrect, so I won't say it. I won't try it. So you can see it if you're in Japan. It's available. My Brother Jack's now available there. It's also available in Australia and in the UK, and obviously here in the good old USA on Amazon Prime.
And the short films?
Right now, Blind, you can email me and I'll send you a link to it. So Blind, I retain the content, so I own Blind again. So if you guys know anything about the way this industry works, so Moviola bought My Brother Jack when I came back from Cannes. It was a 5-year deal where they will obviously able to do whatever they wanted and make as much money if they could off it for 5 years. And now it's back to me. So now it's just in my personal archives right now. I haven't done anything with it since I retained the deal back.
And Forgotten Elm.
And Forgotten Elm was I ended up doing with that documentary, which was about this now defunct soup kitchen in New Haven. This was I think you can still get it at the New Haven Public Library, but other than that, we don't have any digital content, distributor for it.
And what is the status of I Am Shakespeare?
So we're in post-production right now. So we're doing we're sort of between our first and second cut with editing of the audio, Henry's interview, and obviously another 3 or 4 days of B-roll footage to pick up, and then we should be cut. So we're hoping by the end of June, early July, we'll be close to our final cut.
Excellent. Hopefully when the film is ready for a presentation, we can have you back and maybe have Henry back on the show, too, to talk about the movie.
That'd be great. Yeah, I appreciate that, Phil. Thank you so much. And, Henry would he's a great guy to have talk. He's got a lot of good things to say.
I wish we could keep on going, but our time for this segment's come to a close. So, Stephen Des, where can people find you online?
So My Brother Jack and I Am Shakespeare both have Facebook pages, and you can certainly reach me through those pages, obviously. And I have my own website, stevendes.com, and there's an email link there.
Super. Stephen Des, thanks so much for coming to the Online Movie Show. And we're going to take a 5-minute break, play some advertisements from our happy sponsors, and we'll be back at the bottom of the hour with John Riccio. This is Phil Hall with the Online Movie Show.
I am not really Antonio Banderas, but if I were, I'd be listening to PPRN.
Hi there, and if you need any kind of work done to your car, you can try DeSilva's Auto Body, located in Naugatuck at 275 Rubber Avenue. Serving the Naugatuck Valley community with the highest quality of craftsmanship for 25 years, we pride ourselves in delivering on our promise of extraordinary customer service and product satisfaction. We have recently expanded our business with in-house experts and industry gold standard equipment. So once again, give us a call at DeSilva's Auto Body, 203-729-5967. That's 203-729-5967, located in Naugatuck on Rubber Avenue. Once again, DeSilva's Auto Body, 203-729-5967. how bad that sounded, but you won't get that sound at Hat City Music Productions, located at 536 Federal Road in Brookfield. CEO Chris Litwin takes your music to the next level. If you're tired of those basement recordings, those people that you pay too much money for and have you get out within a half hour, well, you won't have that problem. Hat City Music Productions, once again located at 536 Federal Road in Brookfield. Go check out Hat City Music Productions. You won't be disappointed. Tell them PPRN sent you. Aw, fuck! Aw, fuck! Aw, fuck! Aw, fuck!
Hey, Matt, we need to write a commercial for Green Goddess Supply.
Okay, will it promote our grinders, bats, or the hand-carved dugouts?
Well, our one-hitters and our dugouts are already super popular.
Yeah, people can definitely see the quality difference.
Right, so we probably don't need to focus on those. But our premium grinder's brand new, so why don't we go with that?
Cool. What features should we hit on?
Well, it's a kick-ass grinder and getting rave reviews already, so we could use one of the testimonials saying it's the best grinder they've ever used.
Nah, that's cheesy. Let's stick to the features.
All right. So the key is really the sharp teeth.
And the holes?
And the number and the size of the holes.
Yeah, they let the herb fall through without getting jammed up in the chamber.
Right, because nobody likes the weed traffic jam going on.
There's also a Teflon ring that helps the lid slide easily.
And the super strong magnet in the lid.
And the pollen catcher.
We're never going to get through all this in 60 seconds.
Well, just ask them to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, or visit our website at www.greengoddesssupply.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Hall, and I have a question for you. Are you in need of professional video production service? If you are, I'd like to recommend my friends over at Mass Video Productions. They're based in Quincy, Massachusetts, but they do business all over the United States, and they do a great job. They specialize in corporate videos, whether it's communications from your CEO, employment recruitment, training videos for new employees. They can also help you if you need a video for television or an internet commercial. Maybe you need a music video for your band, or you want a video for a special event in your life. I'm not just saying this reading from a script. I use Mass Video Productions for my Business Superstar website, and I have been very, very impressed by the high quality of their production. If you don't believe me, look it up online. Go to massvidpro.com or call 617-319-3434. Again, massvidpro.com or 617-319-3434. And tell them Phil Hall sent you.
Oh, man. Can't take this shit no more. Where the fuck my headphones at? Here they go. Yeah. Ain't nothing like being able to shut that fucking shit up with my Soul Electronic headphones. Yeah. Now this is peaceful. Soul Electronics. Headphones inspired by Ludacris. SoulElectronics.com. Get your pair today.
Are you located in the Middlebury area?
Or the Waterbury area.
Check out International Wine and Liquor at 750 Straits Turnpike, located next to the subway.
Or JT Wine and Liquor at 952 Chase Parkway, Waterbury, Connecticut, next to Spartans.
Both have a wide variety of beer, craft beer, scotches, bourbon, vodka, cognac, and rum.
And a large selection of wines.
Once again, if you're located in the Middlebury area, check out International Wine and Liquor, 750 Straits Turnpike, next to the subway.
Or if you're in the Waterbury area, check out JT Wine and Liquors at 952 Chase Parkway, Waterbury, Connecticut, next to Spartans.
And let them know that PPRN sent you.
All right. Well, that was Stephen Dest, award-winning New Haven filmmaker, and quite a good guy. Look for his film, as he said, My Brother Jack is on Amazon, and his new movie, I Am Shakespeare, the Henry Green story, will be coming out later this year. Hopefully we'll show it at the New England Underground Film Festival, which is going to be happening in October at Best Video in Hamden. We have more details on that closer to the event. Here on PPRN Radio, just wanted to let you know of some of the programs we have on our channel. Coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, we have Undiscovered, which is a celebration of under-the-radar music. These are bands and singers who are not signed to major labels, who quite frankly are, we feel, much better than anything you're going to hear on Top 40 Radio today. So take a listen to that. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern here on PPRN Radio, we have Peter Pinho's talk show, and Peter's going to be back with Storytime Bob Edwards. And their guests include comedian Alison Sarstai, another comic, Dennis Gifford's going to be here as well. The rapper Famous Adonis will be in the studio, and country music troubadour Howard B. Baldwin will be here as well. Friday, you can listen to the new show, Jim Dynamo's Bad Machine, here on PPRN Radio. If you're into paranormal activity, cryptozoography,